Die Hard Vendetta is Vivendi Universal's next first-person shooter set within the Die Hard universe. Die Hard Vendetta puts you in the role of John McClane, who of course is the hero cop from the Die Hard film series that was played by Bruce Willis. The game takes place long after the movies and has nothing to do with them aside from the fact that it has the characters and the basic, story set up for a Die Hard film. The game is a basic first-person shooter. Basically, you're John McClane. You've got to go help your daughter, Lucy McClane, John's younger daughter, featured in the first film just as a child, is now all grown up and a police detective. You end up actually meeting, Hans Gruber's son, who's come back to kind of, pick up where his dad left off. Lucy, she helps you out since she's a police officer. You're able to work with her. She's a very interesting character, and the story of the game, for any fan of the Die Hard films, is definitely cool to see. Like most first-person shooters out there, you move around your environment with the analog stick and aim with the C-stick. The one thing about Die Hard is that depending on what skill level or whether you have it turned on or not, the game has a pretty aggressive auto-aim feature. So if you have it turned on, basically you can literally blaze through the game and you'll see your target, bouncing from one enemy to the next as you continuously hit the fire button. It's definitely, a visceral way to play the game. But for those out there that, want to experience the first-person shooting that, takes a little bit of skill and, actually put the crosshairs on your enemies, you can turn the auto-aim feature off. The one thing that kind of separates the way you can play Die Hard Vendetta from the other first-person shooters out there is that the game has a lot of subtleties in it that allow you to actually take your time if you wanted to. So you don't have to run through the game just, hitting the fire button, taking out enemies. You can actually kind of stealth your way in a little bit of the sense along the levels. There's lots of characters that are, people within the environments, since a lot of the environments you're in are city streets, restaurants, theaters, places that would have a lot of people naturally. Within those environments, basically you can talk to people. They kind of fill you in on clues as to maybe areas that you wouldn't normally go to, and different ways to do different things. The one gameplay mechanic that kind of lends itself well to the whole, stealth and sneaking along the environments instead of actually just running through them with guns blazing is the hold-up mechanic that you can do to enemies that you sneak up on.
Please don't shoot me!
As it sounds, basically you just kind of wait for the right time, which is kind of cued in sometimes by the dialogue that the enemies have with one another. If they're just standing around or they're taking stuff, you'll hear them converse back and forth and talk to each other. If you listen in for kind of cues of when they might be doing something else and might have their backs turned, you can kind of come around the corner and walk up behind one of them with your gun in the air and basically hit the grab button. And John McClane will put his gun to the enemy's head and tell the other ones to put their guns down. Once they do that, you walk over and you pick the guns up so that they can't instantly pick them up as soon as you put their friend down, because they will as soon as you let him go. If you haven't picked up those weapons, those guys reach down and pull those guns up and try to shoot you. Die Hard Vendetta visually is it's not necessarily what you might be accustomed to on the GameCube. The polygonal models look a little less detailed than they are in some of the other GameCube games out there. The textures used in the game seem to be a little bit of a lower quality, but the game does move at a nice, fast, brisk pace, and the frame rate keeps going. It doesn't really slow down, even though there's tons of enemies shooting at you. It's kind of reminiscent to Nightfire with that visual style where things don't necessarily look ultra-realistic, but they look realistic enough to where it's kind of in between like a cartoon style and a realistic sense. The one thing that's important to note is that Die Hard Vendetta has a lot of cursing in it. A lot of it fits, especially for John McClane's character. If you've ever seen a Die Hard film, there's a lot of language in the movies.
It's either going to be me or cancer. I just got here first.
Aside from his dialogue, there are a lot of other voices in the game, some of which are actually portrayed by the people from the movies. The one being Sergeant Al Powell. That character is voiced by the same actor that played him in the films. So there's lots to look forward to in the audio department. So while we've been impressed by some of the aspects of Die Hard Vendetta, we'll have to wait until we receive a final build of the game before commenting further. But needless to say, diehard fans out there that have GameCubes and have been waiting for a game to come to the GameCube should definitely be very excited.